I'm not a thing you can trade, I said, staring at the two of them, my father and Zayden Cole. You can't just sell me off. You don't have a choice, Ava, my father said, not even looking ashamed. It's done. The papers are signed. You're serious? My throat went dry. You really sold your daughter to pay your gambling debt? He stood up, brushing invisible lint from his jacket. Watch your tone. This deal saved your future. My future. I laughed, but it didn't sound human. With a man who's twice my age and hasn't looked me in the eye once? Zayden finally did look at me. His eyes were colder than the marble floor beneath my feet. You're not being sold, Ava. You're being protected. Your father made poor decisions. I fixed them. By marrying me. By owning what's mine. The room fell silent. I felt like I couldn't breathe. You don't even know me, I whispered. I don't need to. You're obedient. Quiet. That's enough. I turned to my father. You're really going to let this happen? His mouth twitched. I already have. The wedding happened in his penthouse. No guests. No cake. No vows. Just ink on paper. A cold kiss on the forehead. And a diamond ring that felt like a shackle. When we got home, his home, I asked, where's my room? He didn't answer. He just walked upstairs. I followed him, slowly. The master bedroom door was open. You expect me to sleep there? He glanced over his shoulder. Where else would my wife sleep? I'm not your wife. I'm your prisoner. He didn't flinch. You'll adjust. I stood by the doorway, hands shaking. Why me? You could have had anyone. I didn't want anyone, he said, undoing his tie. I wanted silence. You were the quietest option. Dinner was silent, too. I didn't eat. I stared at the empty seat across from me. He looked up. You'll need to eat. You'll be expected to attend functions. I said nothing. Are you planning to ignore me forever? I met his eyes. Maybe. If I'm lucky. That night, I sat in front of the mirror in the massive walk-in closet. My reflection looked unfamiliar, like someone already erased. I whispered to myself, just survive tonight. Tomorrow, you'll figure out how to disappear. A knock came at the door. I stood up, tense. What? His voice was smooth. You locked the door. I know. I don't like locked doors in my house. Well, I don't like being someone's property. He didn't respond for a moment. Then, are you crying? I wiped my face. Does it matter? No, the footsteps faded. The next morning, I stood in the kitchen in silence. A maid handed me tea without saying a word. Zayden entered, dressed in another suit. We leave at 10. For what? A business brunch. Do I get a say? He paused. You're Ava Cole now. Act like it. I set the cup down slowly. You bought me. You didn't buy my soul. He tilted his head. That sounds poetic. Useless. But poetic. In the car, he scrolled through his phone while I stared out the window. My thoughts raced, heart pounding. I'm not good at pretending, I said, not looking at him. You'll learn. And if I don't, he looked up, meeting my gaze in the glass reflection. Then you'll be replaced. I turned to him. Like the one before me? His fingers froze. Excuse me. There was someone before. Right. He didn't answer. That silence told me everything. That night, I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the ring. I tried to pull it off, but it was stuck. Like it knew I was trapped. I whispered again. Just survive tonight. My voice cracked this time. You're not allowed outside without permission. Zayden said it like he was reading a weather report. Cold. Dry. Final. I blinked. To breathe. To walk. To see light. He didn't even turn around. To leave this property. I crossed my arms. Why? You're mine. Those two words sat heavy on my chest. The next day, I stood by the tall window. Rain tapped the glass like it was asking me to run. I didn't answer. Nina passed behind me, dusting the fireplace. You okay, miss? I don't know what that means anymore. She hesitated. You should eat. You didn't touch breakfast. Hard to eat when your stomach's full of fear. She looked down. He watches everything, even silence. I met her eyes. Does he listen to it, too? She didn't answer. I tried writing a letter that night. If someone finds this, I didn't leave, I vanished. But I ripped it up. Not because I changed my mind, but because if he ever saw it, I wouldn't have a choice anymore. A week later, while cleaning Zayden's office, because apparently even being owned came with chores, I found the file. It was in a drawer, second from the bottom, labeled Kasia M. I opened it. Passport copy. Birth certificate. Marriage certificate. Last seen 2 years ago. I whispered, Kasia Moreno. The name rang like a bell. A warning. That night, I waited until Nina brought in towels. I closed the door behind her. Nina, does the name Kasia mean anything to you? Her hands froze. Why are you asking? I found her file. She sat down. Slowly. She worked here before you. Zayden married her. And then, she disappeared. Did she leave? She tried. I stared at her. Tried. I think she's dead. My heart thudded in my throat. He killed her. Nina shook her head. I don't know. But I know her bedroom turned into a storage room 2 days later. I swallowed hard. Why didn't anyone report it? No one reports a ghost, Ava. They just learn to live with the haunted walls. Back in my room, I stared at the file. My name would end up on one just like it, unless I did something. I whispered, he can't erase me like he did her. My voice was shaking, but for the first time, my hands weren't. Nina, look at this. She paused in the doorway, eyes narrowing as I held up the folder. Where did you find that? His office. Bottom drawer. She stepped inside quickly, shut the door behind her. You shouldn't have touched that. Who is she? I whispered. Kasia Moreno. Nina didn't speak for a long time. She was my cousin. My breath hitched. You knew her. She worked here before you. Same contract. Same rules. Same cold silence. What happened to her? She vanished. Nina said softly. One morning, the guard said she'd left during the night. But she never even had a key. I flipped to the last page. This says she was married to him. She was. Just like you. I pressed the photo to my chest. Why didn't anyone report her missing? Who'd believe a maid? Zayden owns the police in this district. I turned toward her. There has to be something, someone who could care. Nina looked down. There's one name. I saw it once on her desk. Detective Milan. I repeated it under my breath. Milan. She leaned closer. You didn't hear it from me. That night, I waited until the hallway was dead quiet. I powered on the old desktop in Zayden's study. Password was still the same. Kasia. Sick. I plugged in my flash drive. One by one. I copied everything. Marriage licenses. Purchase records. Even emails. A folder popped up. Labeled Inactive wives. My stomach turned. I whispered, "How many before me?" No answers. Just files. Just names. The next morning, I cornered Nina near the laundry chute. "I want to learn." "Learn what?" "Contracts. Law. Anything that can break him." She looked around. "That's dangerous. Staying here is more dangerous." She hesitated. "I have some USBs Kasia left behind." I held her gaze. "Then give them to me." For weeks, I studied in silence. Late nights, early mornings, contracts, divorce laws, domestic legal traps, hidden clauses, property transfer tricks. I whispered case names to myself like prayers. Brown v. Lester. Elena versus Ward. Zayden never noticed. Or maybe he did, and didn't think I was worth the worry. One night, Nina sat beside me on the floor. "You're different," she said. "No, I'm just angry." She smiled a little. "That helps, too." I stared at the photo of Kasia again. "I won't end up like her." Nina reached over and touched my hand. "Then don't. Wear the gold one," Zayden said without looking up from his phone. I stared at the dress. Backless. Tight. Shiny like wrapping paper. "You're throwing a party, not unwrapping a gift." He raised an eyebrow. "It's our anniversary. Try to look like you belong." "I don't belong." "Try anyway." The ballroom shimmered. People clinked glasses, murmured about stocks and senators. I smiled like I had something to celebrate. Layla, the governor's daughter, placed her hand on Zayden's chest. "Didn't know you had a wife," she said, pouting. "She's quiet," he replied, not even glancing at me. "That's her best quality." I gripped my wine glass tighter. She giggled. "I can be quiet too, if needed." He didn't push her hand away. I walked to the hallway and pulled my phone from my clutch. A burner. One use only. I texted the number Nina gave me. Detective Milan. Files sent. Backup hidden. Then I powered it off and slid it into a toilet tank upstairs. When I returned to the ballroom, Zayden took my hand like I was a prop. "Smile," he whispered, gritting his teeth. "You're ruining the pictures." I smiled. He had no idea he was already in the background of the last one I'd ever take with him. Back at the house, I changed in silence. He unbuttoned his cuffs beside the bed. "Good night," I said, voice flat. He looked up. "Not staying." "No." He stood still. Something changed. "Yes." "What is it?" I faced him. "I know everything." He blinked. "Excuse me." "Kasia. The files. Your little graveyard of wives." His jaw tightened. "You've been snooping." "No. I've been surviving." His voice dropped. "You think that makes you powerful?" "I think it makes me dangerous." The slap came fast. My head turned, but I didn't fall. I looked back at him, eyes steady. "That didn't hurt." He stared at me like he didn't recognize the woman standing there. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I didn't either. He turned away. "You'll regret this." "No," I said. "You will." And this time, I didn't whisper it. "Are you sure about this?" Nina whispered, clutching the flashlight. "I'd rather die running than die silent," I said. She nodded. "The guards change shifts in 10 minutes. We'll go then." "What if he finds out?" "He won't. Not tonight." At 3:02 a.m., we slipped through the cellar door. The cold hit me like a slap, but I didn't stop. "Go straight. Don't look back," Nina said. "And don't trust anyone." "I don't plan to." She handed me a small pouch. "There's $50 in there. And the flash drive. Hide it well. I hugged her tight. Thank you. Don't waste your second chance. I slept in a church basement the first night. The second night, a shelter. The third night, I cleaned toilets in a downtown diner just to buy a sandwich. You ever baked before? Mrs. Dorsey asked, eyeing me with suspicion. No, I said. You're honest. That's rare. I need a job. You got hands. That's enough. 2 weeks later, I met Leo while scrubbing trays. You always this quiet? He asked. I talk when it matters. He smirked. That mean I matter? Not yet. Every night, after my shift, I sat by the bakery oven with my flash drive tucked in my boot. You planning to blackmail someone or start a business? Leo asked once. Both. He laughed. You've got fire. I've got fuel. Just need a spark. One morning, I found a note in my locker. You were never nothing. You just needed to leave to prove it. And I didn't cry. But I held that paper like a lifeline. Zayden once told me I was silent. But silence isn't weakness. Silence remembers. And silence builds empires. You're really doing this? Leo asked, arms folded, flour on his shirt. I don't want to sell bread, I said. I want to build something. He smirked. Then let's bake your empire. We registered the business under my name, my real name. Not Cole? The clerk asked. I stared at the form. No. Elwood. Ava Elwood. You need branding, Leo said, sliding his laptop across the table. I've never done that. You learned to escape a sociopath. You'll survive Instagram. I laughed for the first time in months. Jessa came in for an interview the next week. You worked in a kitchen before? I asked. No, but I can work. And I need this. Her hands trembled. I saw myself. You're hired. You're not just a baker anymore, Leo said one night. You're a boss. I'm not used to being in charge. He leaned closer. Get used to it. Tarek was the one who taught me the legal side. Read everything twice, he said, and assume everyone's lying. Even me. He smiled. Especially you.
I studied hard, trademark law, brand protection, investor pitches. The more I learned, the clearer it became. I could use Zayden's tactics without becoming him. 3 years later, we opened our 5th store. The sign read, Rise and Bloom, Ava Elwood, founder. Someone tagged me in an article. From prisoner to powerhouse. Leo sent it to me with a note. Told you.
Somewhere. I knew he did. And I knew he hated it. You heard? Leo asked, holding his phone out. Zayden Cole's under federal audit. I barely looked up. Took them long enough. Tax fraud, bribery, shell companies in Dubai. He's cooked. Good, I said. Let him burn slow. Layla popped up on my feed next. She dumped him, Jessa said, scrolling. Posted some tearful breakup video. Blamed stress. She was never built for fire. I muttered. Only spotlights. The night of our launch, the ballroom buzzed. Big night, Leo whispered, straightening my collar. I exhaled. He won't show. He might. I didn't answer. 30 minutes in, Imani tugged my arm. You're not gonna believe this. I turned. Zayden. Standing by the wine bar like nothing ever happened. He walked toward me. Congratulations, he said, offering a smug smile. I smiled back. I was expecting lawsuits, not flattery. He chuckled. It's good to see you thriving. You mean surviving? I mean building something. Impressive. I stepped closer. You bought me once. Remember? He said nothing. I leaned in. Now watch me own everything you lost.
The cameras caught it. Every word. Every frozen twitch in his face. By morning, Imani's video had 4 million views. Caption: When your ex-husband collapses, and you bloom. That clip is everywhere. Jessa grinned. You broke the internet. No, I said, watching his company's stock crash live on screen. I broke the chains. He's in custody, Leo said, walking into the office. No bail. I didn't look up. Good. You don't want to see the footage? I've seen enough of him to last a lifetime. Jessa brought in the final print that afternoon. You sure about putting her face on the wall? Yes. I took the frame from her. She didn't get out. But I did. This is hers too. The foundation launched on a rainy Thursday. You nervous? Leo asked, holding an umbrella over us. No, I said. I'm free. Nothing else matters. Inside, women clapped. Cameras flashed. Someone whispered my name like it was a miracle. I walked up to the wall and hung the photo. Kasia Moreno. I said softly, you didn't make it out. But I did. I stepped back. And this is for you. Later, Jessa found me standing alone. You okay? I'm free, I said again. And for the first time, I can taste it. What's it taste like? I smiled. Like something I'll never give up again. Why don't you date? The question always comes too casually. This time, it was Jessa asking, over iced coffee and invoices. I date myself, I replied, not looking up from the numbers. She laughed. That's such a CEO thing to say. No, it's a survivor thing. People ask that a lot. Why haven't you remarried? Don't you want someone to share your success with? Isn't it lonely, being alone? And every time, I smile. Not fake. Not forced. Real. Because no one really understands what it means to belong to yourself until you've survived belonging to someone else. Leo once asked me the boldest question of them all. You ever think of telling your story? Publicly. Why? I asked. You could inspire people. I could also break. He nodded. You don't have to share anything you don't want to. I know, I said. That's the point. I finally get to choose. There are days when the past knocks gently, faint memories, cold echoes in warm rooms. A scent, a word, a headline. But I don't open the door.
I walked past Rise and Bloom yesterday. The front windows were full of sunflowers and laughter. A little girl pointed at the sign. That's her name. Her mother smiled. Ava Elwood. She's the owner. I kept walking, didn't stop, didn't correct her, because she was right. That is my name. The only one that matters. I still have the flash drive. It's in a safe. People say you should destroy it, let go. But it's not for revenge. It's a reminder that silence can scream, that scars don't mean weakness, that even caged women grow wings. I saw Zayden's name on a news ticker last week. Court denied his appeal. Leo texted, you win again. I didn't reply. Some battles are better when the world doesn't hear your victory, only your peace. Tariq retired last month. Sent me a photo of his little farm. You ever think of slowing down? He joked on the call. I did slow down, I said. I just did it at full speed. He laughed. Classic Ava. Sometimes I dream of Kasia. Not how she died, how she might have lived. I see her standing next to me, arms crossed, watching Rise and Bloom thrive. You really did it, she says. I had to, I tell her, for both of us. There's a quote framed in my office. She remembered who she was, and the game changed. Someone asked if it was about me. I said no. It's about every woman who was told to stay quiet, and decided instead to speak by living well. So no, I never looked back. Not because the past didn't hurt, but because I finally understood what it meant to walk forward and not need anyone's permission to do it.